tonight's Fireside chat. A little bit about me. I have about 10 years of experience in the tech industry. And like many of y'all, I'm currently navigating the job market myself. So, this conversation today is something I can very much relate to. And honestly, I'm going to be learning right along with you. Before we dive in, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor for tonight, Apply Tools, who have made this session possible. We really appreciate the support. Now, a quick word of why we are here today. March is Women's Month, and the TAQELAH community wanted to mark it in a meaningful way. So here we are tonight online and for an honest conversation. Because let's be real, navigating the tech job market in Singapore these days is not straightforward. And there are questions that don't get asked always, but tonight we are going to ask them. And to have this conversation, I'm so thrilled that two incredible women who have joined us. Women who are not just thriving in tech, but actively reshaping it. First, Saloni Kaur, a software developer and co-founder of ragTech, a tech podcast dedicated to making technology accessible and relatable. She's also the co-director of Women Devs SG, where she's at the forefront of empowering women to grow and thrive in the Singapore's tech industry. Saloni, so glad to have you here.
Thank you, Yashaswini, for the kind introduction. Looking forward to helping share some of my ideas with everyone.
Yes, thank you. And joining her is Diya Naresh, a specialist in data science and analytics, bringing a unique lens to digital transformation. Beyond her professional work, Diya is a passionate advocate for women in STEM, volunteering with Women Devs SG and Tech Ladies Singapore to build a more vibrant, more diverse tech ecosystem. Diya, wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Yashaswini. Excited to be here and, along with Saloni, see how we can answer some of the questions everyone has.
Yeah, welcome. What I love about having both Saloni and Diya here is that between them, we get perspective from software engineering, data, community building, and advocacy. So, whatever your background is, there's truly something here for everyone. And with that, I think we've all been waiting for this. So, let's get started without wasting a minute. Mm. Let's start with the big picture, the Singapore tech job market. I think many of us have felt a real shift in the air over the past year. And I want to bring it up honestly. I'll direct this question to you, Diya. How has the hiring sentiment in Singapore actually shifted for women in tech over the past year? Are they getting better or more competitive?
So I think that's a great question to start off the discussion, right? I think if I were to use the word trend, right, hiring trends over the last, I would say, let's say post-pandemic to today, are largely shaped by the technology landscape as well as the moving industry, right? So in terms of the technology landscape, there's been a huge shift in terms of the skill sets that they are looking for. Previously, if you're hiring for someone in tech, there's heavy emphasis on knowing, let's say, a particular programming language. Or for data science, for example, you have to be quite well versed in a number of tasks, right? From analysis of data to cleaning of data to working with a business stakeholder. However, today, if I were to take the same job postings, I would say 3-4 years ago, they've been shaped by the use of AI, right, in today's market. A simple example can be if you're a person who knows how to apply AI to learn on the job, that itself is a crucial skill set. I would say number one. Number two, the second hiring criteria that I have looked for is a strong emphasis on EQ and stakeholder management. However, this, I agree, it's not an entry level criteria where they can filter this out through a resume. Yes, this quality comes out in later parts. But this is something even I'm learning on the job is quite a crucial skill set because again, off the bat, everyone can learn and apply technology over time, but to crucially understand the business, what are the business problems we're trying to solve, whether you are a software developer or whether you're an analyst, I can see a huge emphasis on this particular skill set. So I think I want to start off by saying that these are the two changes I'm seeing in terms of the hiring criteria. In terms of the overall job market, yes, I think the number of job postings over time has, with the shaping economy, etc., has shifted. There was a drastic change late of last year, if I'm being very honest. However, I think moving forward, it's all about understanding where you fit in this changing landscape, right? We can address that in the coming questions as well. But yeah, these are the two callers I'd like to highlight.
Yeah, I think that was very insightful. So, in the interest of time, I'll direct this question to one of y'all, but feel free to add in your thoughts. So, this one's for you, Diya. I mean, Saloni. Uh, some of you here are non-technical backgrounds. So, let's address this directly. What are the most future-proof non-technical roles that are actually in demand in Singapore right now?
Oh, oh yes, I saw this question and I was pretty. It's a very exciting question. I don't have answers off the top of my head. So I did do like a search on this. And as I had predicted, the top most is product manager. And that is something I did think about as well. Because even as software developers, I mean, I can come more from the software developer perspective. Even as a software developer, I would say at least more than 20% of my job is product management. It has come to that, and I think that's where all the tech industry would be going towards as well. Software developers should, and not just software developers, all other techie roles should be more product oriented. And so product management, and specifically in the AI product specialist kind of domain. That's more up and coming in the recent few months. So basically, product managers who have experience building AI products or AI integrated products. Next up, I think there was other AI specific related roles, like especially compliance is a big part of it, because now as companies are moving forward in like full on mode into include AI into their products and make it AI first, we need more compliance and more governance, ethical kind of roles coming up to be, building these guardrails around these products. So these, I mean, of the research from LinkedIn and a few other credible websites, these were the more up and coming roles. But definitely AI specialists and AI related ones were the top few. But within those existing domains, so compliance has always existed, product management has always existed, software developer also now the new term is AI engineers instead of software engineers. So I think in each of your existing roles, putting an AI in front of it, that would be the most up and coming role now.
Yeah. And do you think they're accessible to career switchers, like from navigating from one role to another role?
Um, Honestly, the lines are kind of uh, fading away between these roles already. Just like software developer product management, I already did mention the lines are a bit faded in between, even between testing, software development, uh, data analysts, as well as software development, testing, product management. Everyone's doing a little bit of every other thing in most companies already, especially with AI tools available. I can easily now just put in the databases connected to one of these tools, and it can auto churn and come up with analysis by itself. Uh, so yeah, it is very much relevant, but I think there's a few key skills that everyone should be honing within your own interested domains. For example, within software development, I would now actually be even more careful and more deliberate about learning and ensuring my foundations in computer science fundamentals are very strong, because that's actually all I'm requiring to do all these code reviews and use AI coding agents in a more productive manner. So similarly, in marketing, in data sciences, the core fundamentals hasn't changed, and that's actually much more important now than ever. That's my 2 cents.
I think that's reassuring to hear this. It's good. Um, and now one thing I personally think about is who you know in this market, like your connections. So yeah, this one's to you. How important is local network in Singapore specifically for someone who's just starting from scratch?
So yeah, I think maybe I can answer that. So I always say mentorship is very important. I think in this current landscape, right? Not just in this current landscape, it can be across careers, even that don't involve AI or technology, as we're addressing this in the generic sense. So ideally, the first step I would say is before you even start with your network, always find two different kinds of mentors. One who's a champion for your career, and two who's a champion for your personal growth, right? Once you establish these two, I think there are a few important networks you can tap into in Singapore, because it is, I would say, Singapore is a relatively small place in terms of knowing people. So there are three networks here, right? To quantify it, you can say the alumni network from your university. Two is your prior jobs that you worked in. And three is the friends and family network, right? However, I think besides tapping into your known network, there is also the concept of tapping into an unknown network, which is, for example, through LinkedIn, where it could be through a mutual connection, or it could be even through just DMing someone directly. But I would like to take this opportunity to highlight another avenue which I found beneficial for me. And that's, in fact, how I even met Saloni in the first place, right? We have a lot of tech communities within Singapore that exist, not just for women, but in general. We have Women Devs is one of them, and we have many others. We also have, clubs from Google, etc., who I know one of our members is an active participant in. So these communities, right, they help you really find people who resonate with your passion as well as your cause. And through these networks is also a great chance to meet people. So on addressing the different ways you can tap into your network, I think the next important thing is how you want to action within your network. So I think if you're networking, it has to be very intentional networking. You cannot approach a person directly saying, hey, I want a job. Or yes, you can tap into their knowledge system, but I would say intentional networking is very important. And the starting point for that is what you're looking to gain out of your network. Simultaneously, if you have a job, I think it's very important to maintain these relationships over time. So I would say that's a step two. Once you have your network, you build and you maintain your network.
Yeah, I think Meetup app is a good place to find all these communities and to connect with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how I got into this community
community.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so let's move on to the next question. For women who are returning to the workforce after a career break, what's the advice in navigating the re-entry? Saloni, you want to take it up?
Sure. So, I mean, I don't have first-hand experience in this, but within our women devs community, I'm fortunate enough to learn stories of a few women who have returned back to work from, I mean, the usual 6 months, 4 months to even 10 years. And one thing that I really kept in mind from listening to their stories was that throughout their, I mean, hopefully it's not too late or anything, but like throughout their break period, they were still connected to something that they were passionate about. A lot of them were actually career switches into tech, so they weren't originally in tech, but already during their break, they were reading, they were teaching, they were doing courses. I would say even earlier on, before getting into the working world, if you have already started networking, like Dia mentioned, with the community, So just to get a lay of the land of what's coming up, or like having supportive peers around you who can actually explain things there. You can ask us, silly questions to like, what exactly are these tech terms, or to alleviate the stress. Because I think, especially now, if you're returning back to work, I imagine it would be very overwhelming, because even those who are in tech are actually overwhelmed all the time with all these news and things going on. So I would say, phase in, use the help of these communities. I think one of the most benefit community, especially like the women that's tech ladies, and I believe even the Kila community can bring, is uh, warmth and support group, basically, to ease you in to attend tech workshops, to just get a lay of the land of what's happening, what are the trends now, what are people doing, just have a chat with people. That will definitely help in easing your journey into the working world after a break. And of course, during a break, I mean, that was my first point. Keep doing things you're actually passionate about. It could be art and craft, it could be reading, going to the library, talking to people. Yeah. So that was one of my key takeaways from my stories from my friends.
Yes, I think currently I'm going through it. And so I see having a discipline and constant learning, connecting is making me more stronger and like I feel better with everything.
Yeah. It's great that you asked that question because anyone can go through it at any point in their career, whether they intentionally or unintentionally decide to take a break. I think one other thing I wanted to highlight was, while it's very easy to say, confidence is really key. I think entering into this market after having taken a break is daunting. And I think, like Saloni mentioned, having these support groups really helps. I've benefited from them like for different reasons. But the other thing is also transferable skills, right? That's something I really wanted to highlight. So even though you've taken a career break, it's great to upskill, I think, with the given age of AI. But there are factors from your previous jobs that will apply in your current new jobs as well. Because if you see, a large part of the AI landscape is automating repetitive tasks and current tasks. So you may not be a developer as such, but where you can come in is the business use case, right? You can contribute based on your prior work experience. If you're coming from a non-tech to a tech role as well, that is something that you can contribute and value add in any role, where you have transferable business knowledge from your previous role and you're coming into a new role to help with that particular use case. So that's something I've seen happen where a lot of my colleagues may not be technically up to, let's say, developing a complete AI product, but they know the business really well, so they can apply their knowledge from their past experience and come in. So I think this is a very useful skill set in the current market.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, and guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll address them at the end. So now let's go to the main topic of discussion that we've been doing, AI. So, and I'll say this upfront, this section is not just for tech folks. No matter which field you're in, HR, finance, marketing, this one's for all of y'all. Let's start with the basics. You don't need to be a coder to use AI. And how can a non-technical professional start using AI tools to actually be more productive in their day-to-day work? Diya, you want to take this?
Sure, I'm happy to. I think Saloni also can value add a lot to this because I've learned a lot from her. So I think in this case, right, it can start off with simple AI tools, which where I started from, using Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, etc., for doing your daily tasks. Such as it can be to draft an email, it can be to give you talking points during a discussion. I think where AI really helps is to automate your repetitive tasks and save time. So it's as simple as, before I go for a meeting, I key in what I really want as my key messaging, and that's where I get my talking points from sometimes, right? And then you personalize it with your own thought process. So I think for a non-technical user or a non-technical professional, AI can be super beneficial in this case. I'll allow Saloni to elaborate more, but I would like to highlight she has a really nice tech podcast where it's called ragTech, and they explain these simple concepts. And to a person who's not necessarily a developer, it's one of the many things that they do. And so I have used that as a source of knowledge for myself as well, where I come to know this. So I think there's a vast wealth of knowledge out there that you can use. I'll allow Saloni to elaborate more. I think, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Zia. Um, yeah, I mean, you did cover one, which is the repetitive task. First being even able to identify what's a repetitive task. Because sometimes we just do things in a routine. We don't realize that actually we've been doing this every few months. Like, the examples of this would be if you're submitting a report at the end of the week or end of the month, or something like that. These tasks are actually very, uh, it is applicable for automation via these AI tools. And a lot of times it's not necessary you always have to use AI to automate these tasks, but it could be the entry point into your automation journey. And it could be as simple as actually first identifying such tasks and asking a simple chat GPT that this is what I'm exactly doing every week. How can I, like, basically just asking it, how can I automate this for myself? Because I do understand, even though in social media and everywhere we are seeing, oh, I've automated my life, everything's automated, but there is certain nuances to these things that we are seeing out there. Firstly, one of it is if your company is not subscribed to these AI tools, uh, not the enterprise version, you're not supposed to connect any of your work stuff to these tools if you're on the free plan. So only if your company has subscribed to it, or you personally have subscribed to the enterprise version where they're not using your personal data to train their models. Only then connect your Google emails and your company's databases to such things. And so once you have, only then connect to it, and then go ahead, ask it, how can I automate such tasks? It could be a Python script, a simple Python script that you have to run that's running locally in your machine, and you just have to press like the command to run the script every few days or something. But that would be a first step into automating certain tasks in your life. And these Python scripts won't even be written by you, it would be written by such tools itself. So that would be a great start. I personally have tried to do it in my personal life a little bit more, in the sense that my expense trackers are running locally on my machine. I do every month have to give in my CSVs from all my different bank accounts into this locally run script, and it outputs like a graph and a bar chart of all expenses categories. So nothing really goes out of my local computer, except for probably the categorization of each of these statements. But yes, so these are the things that you can learn right now itself while you are still hunting for jobs or when you still have time. But yeah, simple things in your life can actually now be automated, but do so with privacy at mind and compliance and things like that in mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the security is one of the great thing that's coming. I mean, along with AI, the security concerns are highlighted too much. But yeah, you should keep that in mind as well. That's
Yes, I do see a lot of people just posting and giving an impression that AI is controlling their lives, but it might not be a good thing that it is.
correct, correct. You're right. And any specific tools you'd recommend, like for AI agents, like N8N and stuff like that?
Um, I mean, so AI agents itself, I would consider Claude Code an agent. Basically, agent is anything, you give it a prompt and it executes a task for you. Uh, I am actually using Claude Code personally. I have a personal subscription for it. Also, if you're building AI agents for yourself or for your companies, I am leaning more on the proper LangChain or Google ADKs available out there. I don't know if that was the question, but for
Yeah,
building AI agents for your companies, that's what I'm leaning towards: LangChain and Google ADK and their equivalents.
yeah. Okay. So I'll move on to the next question. Now, How can someone use AI tools like Claude ChatGPT to prep for the interview or search for research a company? What approaches actually work? Uh, the
Sure. Yeah, I can take that. I think if I were to compare it to how the hiring landscape was before or the job hunting scene before, right? What we used to do is we'll get information on a company, we look for job postings, then we Google the company, we have a write up about the company, and I even used to go with printouts about the company so that I'm able to memorize, like, or at least understand what the company does as and when the conversation happens. And now you can just get it at the click of a button after giving a useful prompt, right? So I think the first call out is that a wealth of information is available very easily, but also it's very important to moderate that level of information because you need to pick and choose elements of what you search for with let's say it can be any AI tool that you're using. Right? The second aspect is you can use tools such as ChatGPT, etc., to research on open job postings. I think some of the prompts that are even trainable that I've seen people very close to me use are these are the skill sets I have. What are the skill sets that what are the skill sets that the market is looking for? Or please recommend certain roles for me that I can apply to in the current market. Right? That's the second aspect. The third aspect is from a resume perspective. Of course, I know many people use this, and there are even customized extensions available nowadays in order to structure your resume. However, I think a key call out here is to ensure that while you can use AI to structure your resume, it's very important to give it a personal touch at the end of it so that you're really addressing what the role needs. And I think the fourth thing that I've seen people use AI from a job perspective is to update their LinkedIn profile. So again, a call out here is that sometimes it's quite evident when a person uses AI to construct their bio. So I think that personal touch is very important when using such tools in order to construct your bio, your resume, your achievements, etc. Right. So these are the four, I would say, the four ways, the quickest ways I can think of for a person to use AI for the job hunt. However, if I take a step back, right, let's say you do have the option of career pivoting or you want to move into the next level of leadership, or it can even be a promotion. I think what what's useful is you can ask a very open-ended question, again cautioning that of course you pick and choose what you absorb from it, but you can ask a very open-ended question to these AI tools to say, these are the skill sets I have, this is what I'm looking for, what are some of the career options that I have? I would say if you have a chance to do it on a blank slate or even pivot. So I've recently started looking at maybe getting more into leadership sort of role, right? So I keep trying to understand different situations where this can happen. So one way to use these tools is to understand, okay, these are the different situations. How can I upskill myself to tackle these situations better? And one of the recommendations I got was reading a nonfiction book, which ended up being pretty useful. So again, I would like to caution that yes, you have to pick and choose elements from an AI. It can be a chatbot or an agent's answer in what they tell you. But whether it comes to structuring your resume or whether it comes to even getting talking points, I think it's very important to add like overlay it with a human element on top.
Okay, I think it was very insightful. Um, yeah, AI can help us prepare, but there are certain things AI can never replace. So, Saloni, this one's for you. As AI becomes more embedded in every industry, which human-only skills are becoming more valuable?
Mm. Okay. Actually, I have an example for this. So as you know, I am doing starting out content creation through my tech podcast, and so definitely we are heavy users of AI as well. But one thing that I realized is something that the AI cannot help us do is come up with the idea, which is basically the main essence of every single thing that we are doing. So it can help only once I've given it the idea. So, for example, if I want to come up with a new reel video today, I would have to sit down and actually think what would be a good tech topic that I want to talk about. And then I can just say, okay, tell me, craft out a real script about uh, what is vector database. I can just say that. I have to break it down for it myself that this is the way I want to explain it and break it down in that way so that that helps me create the script. And even once it gets the script, I'll then still have to turn it into my own words because it won't be natural coming out of my mouth in that manner. So the idea and the description around the idea that came from a human, and that I've seen happening as well in as a software developer. Yes, AI is coding for us, but I am the one who actually has to break down this bug or this feature for it to be able to do exactly the way I would have done it, or even better. But I had to break it down to that level for it to be able to do it that way. And that still required my architectural knowledge, my domain knowledge of the system, and design patterns, knowing that, okay, somewhere in this code, this is how we actually solve things. This is not the right way. That was still all me. So I think I still, even though the world says AI is going to take over the world, it is still an assistant at the end of the day. It does exactly what you ask it to do. If not, it can. The hallucination is really, I see it all the time. So I was like very happy that Dia did emphasize a lot that you have to take things carefully because it does make mistakes. It is very psychopathic. It will agree to everything you say, even though it's what you might say is wrong, or it might go in a completely different direction with a lot of confidence. So your human skill, your own ideas, your own creativity, your own domain and tech knowledge is very much still relevant. And on top of that, now you have to do prompt engineering, which is how you talk to it.
Correct.
So I think all
Yeah.
your human skills are very relevant here.
Yeah.
Maybe
From,
oh, sorry.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was going to say, I think exactly what you mentioned, right? The human skills become very important. I can address this question from a tech, if you're a tech person versus a non-tech person, right? If you're a tech person, I think the key skill becomes explaining your solution to non-AI folks or non-technical folks. I think explaining the fundamentals to a business person becomes a very key skill, right? Because you should be able to break it down for someone who may not know everything about what AI does. Or it can, this applies to any technical job, right? So I think that's number one. The second thing, which I believe is very important, is EQ, which I believe Saloni covered. She said human skills. I think this becomes very important because it's something that you can only pick up on the job, and it's how you, at the end of the day, how successful you are at your job is not just performance, but it also becomes more about visibility and how you, what an impact you create. So in this case, I think EQ and stakeholder management become very important skill sets, no matter whether you're at the beginning of your career or you might be the CEO. I think this is a very, very important skill set that AI cannot teach you, right? So in an AI world, having these skill sets will make you stand out, because at the end of the day, if two people can build the same technology solution, I will go to the one who can explain it to me in an easier manner and who can manage me as a stakeholder. Yeah, so that's something I wanted to highlight. I think that becomes very important if you want to create an impact, whether you're a tech person or not. At the end of the day, what really, really matters is your ability to read the situation and develop that skill set of having a good EQ.
Yeah. AI is a compliment. It's not a threat. It's more of a get along. Yeah, and having the right prompts to get it right. Okay, let's move on to the next question. There's so many AI courses and certifications. So, which actually carry weight in the resume? Uh, Saloni?
Mm, Honestly,
What?
I don't think AI certifications and courses on the resume carry much weight. As someone who will be who reviews resumes, I don't look for AI certifications or anything. I actually would prefer if you have your GitHub profiles, your links to your projects, actual projects, even the URL of a project. That would be even more interesting for me to see rather than certifications, because certifications are easy to get. Everyone's getting it almost. I personally don't have any. So I don't think it's necessary. Even I do read books and do courses, but I do not do it till the end that I get a certificate, because no one really looks out for certificates, in my opinion. What's more important, it's actual portfolios and actual apps that you have created, or an example of something that you have actually built using the knowledge from these courses. So I'm more prone to that. And if I can just answer one of the question also, I think there was one question on uh, the ATS hiring as well. Like you have 100% match with the ATS with hiring uh, matches skills, but you're still not getting called. One of the things that, I mean, while we doing some research on this sector last year, one of the things that we did see was that actually people are looking for portfolios on resumes. So what happens is, yes, there are ATS systems now because of the onslaught of candidates applying to jobs. There will be a machine system in the beginning filtering people out. So even if you have 100%, you might actually go through the ATS system. It's still the humans who are reviewing these 50 to 70 resumes in person. I believe that's still happening. From what I know, it is still happening. But and a lot of these resumes look very identical. You can imagine, because everyone's using AI and everyone's having similar certifications, similar job style, and the writing, the bullet and everything is very similar. So it's very hard to find uh, one that's shining out of these. And usually it's the one which has links to portfolios that gets attention even further. And another thing that people have been doing now is actually finding your names on LinkedIn and looking at your LinkedIn profile. That has also become a new thing, your professional presence, actually. So yeah, I think there might be more questions on that later. Is there?
Yeah,
It's just
actually,
in the
there
process.
was a similar question, like how do you make your resume look like not from a bot but a human touch? But I think this answers it as well, along
Yeah,
with it.
definitely. I am a number one fan of having your actual projects, a visual form of it somehow. A URL would be the best. But yeah, even a GitHub link with a with like a markdown of exactly what you have done to show that you have done something outside your work or even for your work, and exactly where and how interesting that is. That would be amazing and definitely a standout from the rest of the resumes.
I, on the topic of resume, right? I think one thing, just to keep the flow going, one thing that I've done in practice and I've noticed that's really been impactful is following the XYZ formula. So someone in my network actually showed me that. So X is basically what you've accomplished, right? Y is by measured by what metric, right? So for example, you build an AI model that is X% accurate, for example, just an example. And then you say by doing what. So what exactly did you do to accomplish that particular achievement, measured by Y, and then doing Z. So it's like the XYZ formula. So if you make your resume sentences as per this XYZ formula, right? You can even Google it. It's quite famous. I think especially fan companies, they look at this format. It really gives not just the hiring manager, but even the top level who's ultimately going to be looking at your resume and interviewing you. Create short, impactful sentences. So I've not tested this with AI. Maybe AI can be used to structure your sentences this way. But I think it's very important in your resume not just to say you have done this action, but it's also very important to show what impact that has led to. And especially as you go higher up the career chain, I think no matter what profession you're in, they're going to look for you as someone, as how much you can contribute or impact in your position, right? So this really helps. And if you can quantify it, nothing like it. It can even be X number of lines of code, or it can be you made this process 70% more efficient. It can be anything. But I think this XYZ formula has also helped me in my job hunt in the past.
It's something for all of us to take a note. Yeah, let's move on to the next topic. I think it's a topic that puts a lot of people uncomfortable. It's basically putting yourself out there, being visible, your personal branding, self promotion. So let's start with the first question. How do women effectively talk about their achievements, self promote without feeling like they're bragging? Like I see, like we women always downplay their achievements. So either one of y'all, yeah, anyone
I'll,
who
I'll try this. So, I mean, this is a very, very common topic among women devs community. And one thing that we have like brainstormed and kind of, I guess, found is you have to be. So yes, it is true. On top of being in the tech industry, where we mostly a lot of us are introverts, and we have to accept that networking and visibility is something that is required for us to stay and thrive in this industry. So one thing that we have realized that we can do is be each other's wingman slash wingwoman. So a lot of us in our community, we are not able to talk about ourselves. But similar to how Dia did today, right? So she spoke about my podcast for me. I would not have been able to do that. Too shy to be talking about my own podcast. But she was my wing woman for that today, right? Basically, you have to have such peers around you, not just in the community, but also at workplace, where you kind of make a deal with them that, you know what, I would be your wing person and you be mine. So anytime they do a very, even a small thing, even like deliver the product or project, go ahead, put it on Slack or put it somewhere like, hey, this person, very impressed by how she did this and that. So basically, you don't have to brag about yourself, someone else would do it for you and then you do it for the other person. And it usually helps when two women do it for each other. It could be men as well. I do have male allies at my workplace as well, where even they are very shy and do not want to speak about their own achievements, but will just help each other. And sometimes an unspoken rule, like I'll just do it, and it is given that they will also do it for me next time. So that is one very important thing that I've learned that makes it super easy. Having like friends, supporters like Diaz on your side.
Yeah, I think some places where like some of the helpful tips that even I've come to learn through these community meetings, right? It's having someone to champion you is very important, and I think you can build that, especially in the workplace. You will always have one manager. It can be your own manager or a friend or a colleague who's championing you. So much so that when you're not in the room, they talk positive about you. I think that comes with time and relationship and trust. But to your point earlier, where you mentioned, right, as women, I think sometimes we are not used to, there's a very fine line between bragging versus sharing our achievements, which I think we've spoken about many times. It can stem from imposter syndrome, it can stem from just not being too vocal about things. Uh, it's very easy to say this. I think confidence is key. But one thing that I've found which helps in my professional settings is being very result oriented. So, for example, if I know that I want to say something about myself in this situation, I will find an achievement where I have, again, measuring my impact, saying, hey, I've contributed this, this has achieved this outcome. So, if you project it in the form of outcomes and learnings, what the outcome does is tell everyone, hey, I have had an impact. But the learning overlays it with, it nullifies the bragging effect, is what I would like to say. So that shows everyone that, yes, while you have achieved this great thing, at the same time, you are humble enough, or you always dumb yourself down to learn something new from the process, right? Not everybody knows everything, so you need to be smart enough to know what you're doing, but also dumb enough where you're receptive to learn something new. So I found this way has slowly helped me build my confidence in sharing some things. I must admit, I'm still yet to get there where I'm totally confident to share these things in a big room. But I thought this is something very useful. One of the devices that I've used in the past. And then the other thing I think which is really helpful is always have a 1 minute elevator pitch of yourself prepared, no matter where you are. It can be about anything, right? It can be about your personal life, it can be about your professional life. No matter who you meet, in 1 minute, you should be able to sell yourself to that person. So you might meet your next connection in a coffee shop standing behind you in line, and that's a span of 2 minutes, and you should be able to create an impact on that person. So this elevator pitch is something that I have learned from many people, and I've seen them do it. And even when they leave, I think about it. I go home and I remember what they pitched in that 1 minute. So I think these two have been really useful devices for me so far in my career.
Yeah, I totally agree on this, and I think on the interviews as well. Introduce yourself. How do you do that? That should have the confidence to catch an eye on the interviewer. So the next question, Dia, I'll address this to you. How can a candidate actually demonstrate high emotional intelligence through a virtual interview?
Yeah, I think actually that's a great question. And this is something that is very hard to actually measure when you're having a virtual interview. Because when you have an in-person interview, you can look at things such as cues, body language, and how they're receptive to the questions. So I would say in a virtual interview, right, two things really stand out. A is, while I look for a structured answer in an interview, for example, usually it's the STAR method, a situation, a task, a result, and an action, right? This is what I look for in a candidate's answer. If they hit all 4 points, I know that their thinking is structured, right? So that takes care of one criteria. However, what really matters is the flow of conversation in the interview. I do not necessarily follow a script, nor do I know many interviewers who don't necessarily follow a script. Yes, they have a curated set of questions, but as you can see, even today, we've had the flow of conversation move between the three of us, right? So I think the key skill that I really look for is their adaptability to pick up the conversation and make it natural in order to talk, because this becomes very important when you're dealing with stakeholders in the workplace, where not everyone is going to follow what you tell, or not necessarily answer your questions directly. So there has to be a way to arrive at the answer, and you need to convince the stakeholder in front of you to give you what you want. So I think that's the second skill set that I look for, is the flow of conversation.
Great.
I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Yes, yes, it did. Let's go to the final question in this section. So, is personal branding just for influencers and content creators, or does every job seeker need a brand today?
I'll take this. Um, so unfortunately, yes, I would think it is important for everyone to have some personal branding. Not everyone has to become an influencer, but if you do find you on LinkedIn, it would be nice to see a few posts where you have put in your opinions on things, or even an article on your relevant fields, your relevant interests. It does help to show that you're more human. Like, I'm just giving my raw thoughts. What this means when I do look up a candidate on LinkedIn. I'm more human, more like, it does show me that you're able to write firstly, because that's not seen anywhere else. Uh, Able to write, able to express your thoughts. I would be able to see what you are interested in, what you're passionate about. If it's related to the field that we are interviewing for, even better. If not, even if it's like some volunteer community thing, like non-tech related, planting, gardening, it shows the human aspect of you, and it shows that you have a life after work. That's something that also interests people. Uh, and definitely projects, going for hackathons, looking at you participating in hackathons. It gives some impression. Like, compare this to someone with nothing on their LinkedIn, just their work experience. Which one would you choose, right? So definitely some sort of personal branding is required. And no, not everyone has to go open up a camera and start talking to a camera already. But I think articles is a great way, because now writing gives you some form of expression. It shows your knowledge, it shows your thought process. So that will be number one. White coding an app is definitely a must for everyone already, I think now. That shows that you're able to work with AI. And yes, there's code involved, but there are also non-coding platforms like Lovable, Bolt, where you can just create an app just by
Yeah,
chatting through it. There's no, you wouldn't have to touch the code per se. So all
yeah.
these things, I think, does does show an impression of you. Like it's, I would call it a little bit of personal branding, which is just posting something on LinkedIn, non-videos. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just have a quick point to add here. I think Saloni's call out about having that it could be as simple as posting. So we have a good friend, her name is Victoria, and she writes a lot of articles on LinkedIn, which again for me, I look out for her articles, or if I don't see any posted, I will go to her profile and I will look. She's a brilliant writer. And she's also a GitHub superstar, right? So I think she's on this call as well. So if there is anything that I would say that to me stands out about Victoria as a personal brand. Besides, she has a wealth of technical knowledge as well. But besides that, it's her ability to write. And I think the way she simplifies her articles for someone, again, I'm not a software developer, or, a lot of the concepts might seem quite technical for me at a glance. But when I read her articles, she addresses not just technical, but she addresses some non technical aspects of life as well. And to me that is one of her USPs, right? So I think when you're doing personal branding, your positioning really matters, but not just your positioning, you need to see what your unique branding is going to be. So it doesn't mean you just showcase all of your skill sets. Ideally, if you can find a particular skill set that does stand out, especially if you're passionate about it, nothing like it, right? I think we are trying a lot to propagate, women in STEM as a community, and that itself is a passion of ours. And while I know many people are doing that, for me, it's something unique to me because I try to create impact that way. So I do read around it, I try to post around it, etc. So I think having that particular USP really really helps.
Yes. Yeah, I think uh, standing out in a bunch of resumes now, like there are hundreds, thousands of applications. So to be able to stand out, you need to be out there. Um, in the interest of time, I think let's wind this up and or continue with few of the questions, and then the Q&A we'll take it out later offline. So I'll go ahead with the questions. Okay, and here's one thing that I feel every person has felt it at some point: imposter syndrome. You see a job description and you may meet maybe 60% of the requirement. Like, do you apply? What do you do? Like, go ahead, apply, Saloni.
Mm, depends what the 40% are that you did not meet. If it's crucial for the, uh, if you think it's crucial for the role, I would still think you should think a little bit. But given that you don't definitely don't need to meet 100% because a lot of these things can be learned on the job. And yeah, basically, sorry, that's the one. Yeah. So yeah, definitely not 100% needs to be met, but at least 70 to 80%, and then with your own discretion whether the 40% is relevant and it's something you can learn on the job or not. But I think one of the ways that at least I sometimes handle this is by, if I'm not able to tell if I should apply, just ask your friends. If because they would be a better judge of your capability, your skills, and your confidence. If it's confidence coming in your ways.
Yes, I think that's one good way to think about it. Yeah. Uh, so I think we're almost meeting the time. So let's wind this up. Saloni and Diya, thank you. It was a very rich conversation and truly everything I hoped it would be. Thank you, everyone who joined us. We hope you find this as valuable as I did. Uh, please do follow Saloni and Diya. And yeah, until next time, we'll take your questions offline. Yeah, we'll take these questions, whatever you've commented in the chat, and take it offline later. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone. Hopefully,
Thank
this was useful and insightful for you as much as we learned as well from each other.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking your time out on a Tuesday evening. And also, if you would like to, be a part of our community, definitely let us know. We're always welcoming people who, just want to hang out or need any support, or just want to have a conversation. So definitely, reach out to us if you want any of them. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you all can join communities like this as Women Devs, Takela, and many more through meetup apps, and you all can meet wonderful people like them. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suspini, as well
Yes,
for the
thanks for
session.
that.